presentation from the physics buddy system.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Claire and this is Ruth, and we're talking about the physics buddy system. This has been running for about 4 years. I say 4 years, it runs from summer term to summer term, so it's 3 years and a term it's been running now, but we're in our 4th year. I set it up when I was an undergraduate. I was the president of PhysSoc at the time, which is the Physics Society, and so the buddy system and the Physics Society sort of work quite well together, which is quite nice. Ruth was the coordinator of the buddy system last year, so up to about a month ago. So hopefully I can tell you stuff about why we started and things, and Ruth can tell you about anything that's happened since the beginning. So we're going to give you a brief presentation about what it is and how we organise it, and then hopefully there should be time at the end for any questions. Before we start though, I do have to apologise. The slides are very wordy, so that if anyone wants to look at it afterwards and learn anything, we've put all the information on them. But sorry, it does look like we're sort of going, read all this information. But sorry.
So the buddy system was set up as a peer support network group that runs alongside this already successful tutorial system that's run in physics. So for those of you that don't know, in physics you meet an academic weekly, kind of 4 of you in a group, to come with any kind of academic questions, things you don't understand, questions that you've had in lectures that you don't want to ask in front of everyone else. It's just a really good time that you can talk to people about those problems you're having, but it's a very academic atmosphere, and it doesn't really address the kind of pastoral side which the buddy system does address. So with the buddy system we buddy up an older student, which we call wisers, with first year students, which we call buds, and generally you've got about 8 buds to a wiser. And it's for things like if they've got questions about finding a house in their 2nd year or towards the end of their 1st year, or things like where are different places on campus, or who do we go to about this problem, things like that. And unlike the theology buddy system that they talked about earlier, every 1st year that comes in is automatically part of the buddy system. They're under no obligation to actually use it in any way, but they're automatically allocated to an older student, so there is that network there if they want. It's a really good system because it provides the communication between different year groups, and with that brings a lot of help and advice from the older students, even if it's what module should I choose, how did you find this module, what are the exams like, how are exams laid out, things like that. And it also helps the wisers to develop those kind of pastoral skills, communication skills, organisational skills as well.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we run it in physics. So like I said before, it runs from summer term to summer term, basically because the busiest time that you're going to actually have to do anything is right at the beginning of the new year, when all the people coming in are brand new and don't know anything. So we start it up the summer term before, so that the wisers are all prepared, so that when they start off they can run with it rather than whatever, which is quite good. So in that term, because we obviously are giving these wisers some responsibility, we need them to be responsible people. And some people who come to university obviously have like criminal records and have things like that that we don't know anything about, and we shouldn't know anything about, but the head of the department does. So what we do is everyone applies sort of anonymously on a form. He then looks over them and makes sure that people, vets them, make sure that they're he's happy to give them responsibility to do things. Then the people that get through get given to us and we know who they are. The ones that don't get told by him why they haven't got through, and we never know that they haven't got through, so there's never any sort of problems with anything like that. So we get the candidates through. Then the outgoing coordinator and the incoming coordinator sort of work together for that term. That's sort of like a handover period, because obviously the outgoing coordinator, this is the time they're going to know the most because they've done it for a year, and the incoming coordinator's not going to know that much yet. So they work together and they do training sessions with the wisers, sort of give them examples of what sort of questions they might be asked, what they should do if this happens, this, that, and the other, so that they feel a bit more prepared for when September rolls around. So then we have our groups all allocated, ready to go. We do things in Welcome Week so that we can get the buds to know what's going on. We have a meeting on the Monday so that the wisers can get t-shirts and be prepared. T-shirts is Ruth's modelling a t-shirt now, this is what we look like. And get the last minute information and stuff. And then we go and talk to them on Schools Day.
WISErs an opportunity to get to know the buds. The buds get to know who all the WISErs are and who the coordinator is. And the coordinator stands up and talks kind of 10-15 minutes about the buddy system, what it involves, kind of what we're there for. And then there's a bit of time for the buds to split off into their groups and meet their WISER. In the past couple of years, bar last year where there were the building works happening in physics, we've actually done a building tour with the buds so that they get to know kind of the building, and it just gives you an opportunity to chat to them in kind of that informal setting as well. And then in the evening of schools day, there's normally a FISOC social, which is run by FISOC, but we try and encourage the WISErs to go along to, because then they're buds. If they do turn up to the event, they know someone already, there's that friendly face there. And then the WISErs are also there to support them through the evening as well, you know, make sure they get home okay and things like that. And yeah, so this year also we're hoping to have the majority of the FISOC committee as WISErs, which will also help the new first years get involved in FISOC, because we just think it's such a great network to have, especially in physics, where it's a relatively small department and we're based in a building. To be able to walk down the corridors and kind of know the other students is really nice, and it just enhances that kind of friendly atmosphere that I found throughout my time doing physics here. It's also, the thing that we need to stress to the WISErs is it's a non-academic support network. They're not, it is not their role to help with the academic stuff, and we encourage them not to, for plagiarism issues and things like that. So it's there for the pastoral side. The WISErs can direct them to the correct member of staff that they need to go to for their academic problems, but it's not the WISErs' role to do that. Last year, what I did when I split up the new first years into their groups was actually try and match them to course, because we have various courses running in physics, and to be in a group with people that are, say, doing maths and physics as well, or doing maths and physics and European studies or something, just means that you get to know other people on your course initially on that first day as well.
Brilliant. Okay, so we have some communication protocols. This is just stuff that we do just to ensure that everybody's safe and stuff. I mean, nothing has ever actually happened, but we just think if anything did, we just want to sort it out. So we don't have, we like all the meetings to be in public places, so there's always lots of people around and there's always, nothing can happen. All email communication is also sent to a specific buddy system account, so that if anyone says, so-and-so said this to me, we have a non-biased place that's saved so that that's safe and fine and we can sort it all out. But we also do things like, the WISErs, they sign a contract at the beginning of the year saying that they're going to be available to help these buds throughout the time. But obviously some things can come up, like they might get ill or whatever, and they might not be able to do this. So all we say to them then is they should let their buds know, so they're not continuously emailing this person and be like, get hold of me, why aren't you replying? So they should let them know, but they should also let the coordinator know, because then that's for the buds to just get hold of the coordinator instead, and then there's still contact there. But the last thing, and probably the most important thing, is that the WISErs are very discreet. If your bud is having real problems and comes to talk to you, you don't want it spread around the whole department that they're having whatever problems. You don't want any rumours or anything. It's always very, very quiet and whatever. And we have a confidentiality agreement, which we've talked about.
Yeah, so for something like this to work, you need the relationship between the buds and the WISErs to be based on that trust and confidentiality. And so anything that a bud confides or talks to the WISER about is kept between those two. And there are, so the first couple of weeks after Welcome Week, the WISErs should meet up kind of with their buds or organise a meeting. Some of them might turn up, all of your group might turn up, or you might get none, or you might get one. But they try and kind of organise that meeting in an open place. And then depending on the WISER, depends how they kind of take that forward. You might meet with other buds at other times. You might position yourself, say, in Coffee Express at this time every week with some work. And then if your buds come and talk to you or want you, they know where they can find you, other than just emailing and things like that. But obviously, with everything, there are exceptions. So if you and a bud agree that a third party can get involved, obviously that's fine, because you've got the consent of the bud. And also, if you as the WISER think that there's any harm or any kind of worry to the bud, so they've something that should be taken to a counsellor or some other kind of body obliged to tell someone else about that for their safety. So the buds are aware of that before they tell you anything that might be potential like that.
So obviously, we want to support the wisers as much as possible because we're asking them to help out all these new buds and not really giving them that much in return. So we want to support them as much as possible. So it's made very clear that they are not counsellors, they are not anything like that. If someone comes to you with something of that sort of nature, you send them to the counsellors, you send them to the health service, you send them to whatever professionals will be better to talk to you about it. If a wiser is at all unsure about what to do, they can talk to the coordinator, and they can do that without breaching the confidentiality agreement, because they can just say, one of my buds has told me something about this, what should I do? And then the coordinator can direct them. And also, if the coordinator doesn't know, we quite often go and talk to our Director of Education, Charles Williams, who is fantastic, right on the ball, knows what to do about everything. So it always gets sorted out. But yeah, it's very important that they're not a counsellor or a doctor or anything, they're just there to help you with general ideas and general problems. So